The House Transportation Committee will now come to order. Mr. Clerk, take the roll.
Representatives Cobb, Dean, Fincher, Ford, Vice Chairman Fraley, Secretary Harmon, Hill, Johnson of Montgomery, Johnson of Cheatham, Maggart, Matlock, Neal, Tidwell, Vaughn, West, Watson, Winningham, Chairman Pinion.
Here.
Mr. Chairman, you have a quorum.
Thank you very much. I think we welcome everyone to this meeting of the House Transportation Committee. I think Representative Harmon, Secretary Harmon, has got a group that he'd like to recognize at this time.
Yes, Sequatchie County leadership is here with us today. Stand up, folks. And Colonel Walker is with Sequatchie County. He's from Sequatchie County. We're glad to have those folks with us today. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else have anybody they'd like to recognize in the audience this afternoon? Anybody else? Okay, we'll move forward with our calendar. We're going to take one bill out of order. We've got Representative Brooks has got to go to another committee, and so we'll recognize him, if you don't mind, on House Bill 335. Representative Brooks, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, members of the committee. House Bill 335 designates a certain segment of the bypass known as APD 40 in the city of Cleveland and Bradley County as the Veterans Memorial Highway.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Are there any amendments?
There are not, sir.
Okay. Any discussion? Are you ready to vote? All those in favor of House Bill 335 going to Finance, Ways and Means, let me know by saying aye. Opposed, no. Ayes have it. Bill goes to Finance, Ways and Means.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. We are now going back to the beginning, well, let's see, the beginning of our calendar. Representative Bone, Stratton Bone, Chairman Stratton Bone, you're recognized on House Bill 7.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. House Bill number 7 came to me from the Watertown City Council, and it names a bridge on Round Lick Creek on Highway 7 in Wilson County in honor of Edsel Cordell Floyd. And when I went up there that night, when they asked me to do that, Mr. Floyd was there. This is Mr. Floyd, Edsel Floyd. And I told him at that time that it'd be necessary for him to come down here with me to get this passed. I couldn't do it alone. And he agreed to come. Now, I want to tell you a little about Mr. Floyd, Watertown, Tennessee. He served as the mayor. He served on the city council. He was a postmaster. He was the voice of the Watertown Purple Tigers for 40 years. Member of the First Baptist Church for 40 years, where he served as a deacon. He was a scoutmaster in the Boy Scouts, and I saw one of his scouts the other night, and he told me that on a merit badge that they had to ride 50 miles, and Mr. Floyd went with them to get that merit badge. He actually worked for TDOT for 2 years, a long time ago, as the equipment clerk. He served as the fire chief in Watertown, served 2 hitches in the United States Army, one in 1949 for 1 year, then in 1950 when the Korean War broke out, he went back. After he left that, he went in the Naval Reserve for 12 years. He retired from the Wilson Bank and Trust in Wilson County and the Floyd Feed Store. I don't know what he did in his spare time, and I asked him, but he said he did sweep the streets up there a few times. So he's been real busy. I've got some more people I'd like to introduce, Mr. Chairman, if I could.
You're recognized.
He's got his son, who's a chauffeur today, Mark Floyd, sitting back here.
Mark, stand up. Thank you.
He's got a sister that's taught school over there for 35 years. Is on the city council in Watertown now, Paulette Darce. Paulette?
Ms. Darce.
And we've got Gwen Patton, who is here. She actually, a sister, worked for the circuit court clerk in that county for 30 years. We've got Michelle Tutt from the Watertown Gazette here.
She's back
over here. Mr. Chairman and members of the committee, I think personally this guy is well qualified to have this bridge named for him. I don't know how you feel about that, but I'm going to let you ask him any questions.
Let me get this bill before us. Let's see if I can even get a recommendation. I've got to have a motion before I get this bill. I have a motion and a second. Now it's properly before us. Mr. Morris, this is a very high, Mr. Floyd, this is a very high honor when they want to name a bridge after you. You think you've really deserved this?
No, sir. Well, I'll tell you, I expected it.
Oh, did you?
Representative Bone, and when he was running in his last election,
Tell us more. Tell us more. Now, I want to hear this.
he told me that if I would donate so much money to his campaign, that he would see that a bridge was named after me.
I see. I
I
see.
thought maybe it might be the bridge over the Cumberland River out here, or over the Tennessee River, but it's better. They picked one out in Watertown. So I thought, I don't deserve it, but I did expect it.
You did. Well, we won't ask you how much money did you have to donate to Representative Bone in order to get this.
You want to ask me that?
Yeah, I'll ask you that.
50 cents.
That helps.
Well, I tell you, Mr. Floyd, this is when we name. Usually, I'm gonna be real honest with you. Usually, when we name something after somebody, it's after they're dead.
Well,
But you
that
still
this
alive.
bridge- I was hoping that, I'm not very much. But I was hoping this bridge would get named before they had to put the Edsel C. Floyd Memorial Bridge.
I understand. Now, are you going to go out and make sure that these teenagers don't shoot up these pretty green signs that TDOT puts
I
up?
better not catch one.
Representative Johnson, did you have a question?
I do. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And, as Representative Bone started reading off all those things you've done, Mr. Floyd, I ran out of ink. And it seems you've done enough for 2 or 3 lifetimes, so we better name this bridge after you
I
while we
appreciate
can.
that. I feel like I've done enough 2 or 3 lifetimes.
Have you? Well, I just had a couple of questions. Have you seen this bridge?
Oh, yes.
Well, what do you think? Is it worth your name being put on there, you think?
Well,
Is it up to your standards, I should say?
I need one a whole lot bigger.
Do you?
No, sir. It's fine bridge.
Well, I want to come back to that and just say, well, what do you think about this Representative Bone? What do you think about him?
Don't ask me that out here in public.
Well, now, we're going to have to have one little final thing clarified, though. As you go out, you cross that bridge, I assume, quite often.
Yes, very often.
Do you ever, pretty good body of water moving under it?
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah? Any fish in there?
Small fish.
Small, not worth fishing for, then.
Not where the bridge.
So we're not going to have to worry about you stopping on that bridge and enjoying your bridge.
Well, now, I'd have to think about that.
Because it's a mighty fine place to fish off of sometimes. I've
Yeah,
done
I
that.
know it.
Okay.
But nobody fishes off that bridge.
Well, if you do, you just when the police come up to you, all you've got to say is, "Do you know who I am?" And if you don't know who I am, my name's on the end of this bridge.
Tell them it's my bridge, so I
That's
can fish
my
off of it.
bridge, and I'll fish off of it if I want to, and you certainly deserve it, sir.
Well, thank
you
you.
for coming today.
Thank you.
Mr. Floyd, let me say in all due respect and honor, when we have an opportunity to honor someone who has contributed not only to their nation by your service in our military, but also to your town and to your community, it gives us great pleasure and great honor to name. That's the least we can do for you, and the work that you've done to make Watertown and Tennessee and America a better place. We appreciate you very, very much.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
All those in favor of House Bill 7 going to Finance, Ways and Means, let me know by saying aye. Opposed, no. Ayes have it. Bill goes to Finance, Ways and Means.